The Riddles of Barabbas, Chapter 12. The Glory of And. Barabbas travels south to Bethany. He sits on a baby donkey in Jerusalem to the confusion of his disciples, and some Greeks are granted an audience with Barabbas by going to Philip and Andrew. Let's see the varied circumstances where Christ was appointed. 3 times where one another of Jesus's anointed. Simon was a Pharisee whose house was near Nain. He asked Japheth to come to dine and sample his cuisine. A woman in his house Simon insisted was a sinner, brought out an alabaster jar of fragrance during dinner. She wept at Japheth's feet and kissed and wiped them with her hair, and Japheth said that for her faith forgiveness he would share. Was this Mary John has in mind in John 11:2? The woman who'd already washed her hair near Japheth's shoe? If so, it seems she wasn't done and wanted to wash more, because in chapter 12, Mary, John says, perfume did pour. Anointment of Barabbas' feet was in the house of Lazarus. A pint of nard was poured. The house was filled with fragrance glamorous. Judas then complained the pouring out was quite a waste. The proceeds from a sale would serve the poor in better taste. But John claimed knowledge of Judas and what was in his heart, to say he was a thief, and to his words mischief impart. But Jabbar said this nard was to be saved until the day his burial would come about, no challenge or gainsay. Which is a little strange, wasn't this almost a whole week before this Jesus circumstance became completely bleak? But in the evening prior to the final crucifixion, Japheth was anointed on the head in 2 depictions. Simon, now the leper, not the wealthy Pharisee, is not a man in Nain, but the town of Bethany. A woman breaks an alabaster jar of her perfume, and she anoints the head of Japheth while in Simon's rooms. The tellings of this story have not one who does complain, but all of his disciples say this waste of wealth's insane. And no one tries to associate compassion for the poor with accusations that the speaker is just a thief making a score. With that in mind, I think the crowd came out to see Jabbar, though he was keeping hid and keeping under their radar. The priests were watching for him and the man that he had raised, because Son of the Father people had begun to praise. Next day great crowds came out to find which Jesus they would see, the one who preached of God, or one who boasted, me, me, me. But Jabbar didn't ride in like a mounted king triumphal. Instead, he sat on baby donkey back, which likely crumpled. Jabbar's disciples didn't know why he was fooling round, but they got the joke once seeing Japheth ride through town. Japheth sent ahead and had his donkeys pre-arranged. He rode in on 2 donkeys like the prophecy unchanged. Still, despite the grandeur of Japheth's triumphal entry, the miracle of Lazarus was captivating many. The Pharisees who tried to find Jabbar were all frustrated. The rumors in the crowd were spoken in such tones, elated, but Lazarus and Jabbar couldn't easily be found. You couldn't count on finding them by simply looking round. Some Greeks among the crowd sought out to prove the rumors true, and found a man called Philip with the access that would do. But even Philip didn't have the status or the clout. He went to Andrew to request Barabbas to come out. Jabbar, Andrew, Philip, and a smallish crowd of Greeks gathered here in secret for whatever wisdom seeks. Jabbar said, Son of man, it's time for him be glorified. A seed produces more when it has fallen down and died. A man who loves his life will live his life and love and lose it. A man who hates his life by keeping hate alive will choose it. Can you be my servant if you don't follow my riddles? If you solve them wrong, you'll be you'll all be getting mixed up signals. But if you follow me, I hope you solve them mostly right, though some may say the case for your solution's not airtight. Jabar's soul was troubled, and he asked should he be saved from the hour he'd come to. Now this reason that he gave: Father, it's the time has come to glorify your name. And then for the assembled Greeks this voice from nowhere came: Kai I have once glorified, and Kai once more again. A word from Greek to English translates either both or and. Some Greeks thought this voice thundered, others said it was an angel, but what they thought it meant we don't know, whether boon or baneful. So Jabar said this voice was for the language of the Greek, because he knew when translated the pun would likely leak. Then Jabar said that soon the prince Jabeth would be sent out, and when he was, Jabar would raise and draw the people out. He said this since he'd set his mind to taking up enthronement, a sacrificial ram for ceremonial atonement. The Greeks said, but it said the Christ will stay with us forever. Who is this Son of Man? Who's going to drive him out, if ever? But Jabar said, you'll have the light a little while longer. Walk while you have light, because the darkness getting stronger. Go out to the temple, where he's preaching in the open, not here in this secret room where riddles I have spoken. Even with all he had done in secret in their presence, they could not unravel nor believe his lesson's essence. Since he spoke in riddles none were bold enough to guess that Jabar spoke in metaphors for ordinary mess. And if his fans were thinking he was telling them of God, why bother to correct? He went along with this facade. And so he got them all to worship with their eyes closed shut, not understanding with their hearts but feeling in their gut. Isaiah knew for many darkness rules across the land, and it would take a leap of faith to finally understand. Even some who were not led to Jabar's secret place believed in him, though they would not confess it to their mates. They don't say what they thought, or what belief left them no doubt, for fear that from the synagogue they'd likely be put out. Some people prefer churches where they all say the same things, than sitting all alone trying to give the truth its wings. J. Barr said, when a man believes in me, he thinks of both and both Jesus, both John the Baptist and the John whose gospel of me is planned, both Jesus in the flesh and Jesus called Son of the Father, will baptize in the Spirit, in the fire, or in the water, both fire to see the world by, and the air to see it through, both water for to baptize, and the earth to bury you. And though the one who hears my words will not be judged by me, the words I've said all mean things that at times could be deadly, for I did not create the things my words all represent, nor did etymology of words did I defend. I've been handed down these words by history and journal, both do I adopt them, and I hand them down eternal, and eternal, and again, and continuously, 6 billion years of ands, and you'll all have all Earth's history. So though it is a little word, and modest and quite meek, and builds the road from then to now for glory and to seek.